Alrighty, so I haven't done a tier list in a couple of months. The last one was in November, whenever the Ultimate Escanor came out. And honestly, like as I'm going through, I have to put every so often I end up, I guess I reset my cookies or whatever on my browser, so I have to redo this entire list, which is really annoying. So like the video, please. But anyways, yeah. So I'm a little bit out of date, and every time I go back through and put some of these characters in the spot that I had them beforehand, I realize how either power crept they've been or useless they are nowadays, or whatever the case may be. So first and foremost, I want to go through some of these tiers, and I definitely just want to move characters around. Some of these characters do not deserve the spot that they're at nowadays. Take some of these opinions, obviously, with a grain of salt. This is just my personal experience with the game. It's why it's called Nalyd's tier list. Obviously, if you want to make your own tier list, do it. Send it to me. I don't know. Let me see what you got. Anyway, so let's move around some of these characters because obviously it's just kind of janky, man. Like, honestly, some of these characters, I don't know if I was smoking crack or something when I made some of these decisions, or if they literally just have been, like, power crept into oblivion. But first and foremost, I think Reinhardt definitely needs to go down. I think Reinhardt just goes down straight to S tier. He's a really good character if you have him 6'6", of course. But honestly, I don't even know. Maybe I should move him to A tier. Like, he's really not what he was in his height. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. We're going to keep him in S tier for now. I honestly think I'm going to move Bond, Purgatory Bond, to high A tier because he is just not what he used to be, which is crazy because he literally dominated the meta for like a full year, if not like maybe a little over a year. I don't want to say it was quite 2 years, but it was a really long time that he was like really relevant in the meta. Honestly, Echidna, S tier at best. I don't know why she's in double S. I honestly want to move Blue Lilia down to high A tier. I know that I'm pretty sure I've said in the past that the tier list isn't necessarily like in order from like high A tier isn't necessarily like a thing, but she's like just on the verge of being S tier, but she's just dated. I pulled her way late. I pulled her over a year after she came out. I've tried her more recently. She really doesn't hold up as well anymore. Plus, you have to have like a completely built up catastrophe team, which honestly, no one has. Like, I mean, there's very few people that have invested into the catastrophes enough to actually be able to get good use out of her. So just moving her down. Honestly, Deanne without a relic right now, not SS tier. She's pretty easy to get through in a lot of the meta teams right now. So she's just not as good. It takes like maybe a turn, if not 2 turns, to get through her. Which I mean is okay. It's not bad. She still deserves to be, you know, higher up on the list, but not where I would, she doesn't deserve double S tier, I don't think. I think I'm also going to move Trader Melly down to S tier, just because he's not really PvP relevant anymore. I don't really see him at all. I haven't seen him in a long time. I've seen people meme with him in PvP recently, but he just realistically can't hold his own in PvP anymore. He's a really good PvE unit, which is the only reason I'm going to keep him at S tier. If he wasn't even as good there, but he's like God tier PvE unit. So I'm going to keep him in S tier because I think he deserves that. I know I've gotten a little bit of pushback in some of my more recent videos, but I think Light Liz goes S tier. I don't think she's quite on par with the new meta of stuff that we've got to deal with here. Honestly, Estarosa's S tier now. He's good, and the encroachment stacks are super important and everything, but he has to have a full team behind him. You literally can't just take just Estarosa in, or like any sort of team that's not Demon Team with Estarosa. He's just, the meta has like literally power crept that much in terms. So I think Philo also goes down to S tier. Rimuru is still really good. I don't necessarily know if he deserves double S tier at this point. I'm going to keep him double S tier because he has a really good ult. He removes buffs. He gains pierce. He's really good, but I'm skeptical to keep him double S. So, yeah, I'm also going to move Merlin down 1. The only reason I'm going to keep Tarmiel here is because he's literally, like, the most game-changing relic that has, or not relic, game-changing grace that has ever hit the scene. So, I think he deserves to be there. Honestly, I want to push King down a tier, but at the same time, He did just get a relic, which makes him a little bit more relevant. I'm just going to move him to the bottom of S tier, just to make myself feel better there. I think the rest of these characters are okay. Little Merlin can maybe be pushed out a little bit. Honestly, I don't think... I'm going to move Zeldris down a little bit too. Although he's a really solid backliner, there's a cleanse in the meta right now. You can't really get like a really good amount of debuffs off and get the most use out of him anymore. I'm gonna move Escanor, old school Escanor, down to A tier. Margaret's... I'm gonna move Margaret to A tier as well. She's good as a utility character, but her damage is very lacking. Not super great there. Dog coughing. Sorry about that. Freyja's S tier, no doubt in my mind. I think we're going to move Assault Mode down to A tier. He's just not what he used to be. Io is still like a one-of-a-kind unit, so I'm going to keep him here. Excalibur Arthur in no realm is S tier anymore. Even like when you put him with the new Escanor, it's just like he's pretty mid now. He's dropped off quite a bit. I'm gonna move Milim to A tier. I really don't see her being relevant in PvP at all. I know people use her for like deer teams and stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. Nobody uses Amelia anymore, even though she has a turn 1 freeze, which is super good. She's fallen out quite a bit. I'm also gonna move Sariel down, even though he has a really, really good link. I'm gonna move him to the bottom of S tier. I don't think it's fair to knock him out of S tier because he really does have, like, if you're going damage dealer besides Mael, he's probably the best grace that you can put on somebody. Terry's dropped off quite a bit. I don't even know if I really want to put him in A tier. Maybe low A tier, because I mean he has a really good ultimate. But that's basically it. He just takes off ultimate move gauge, and he has a stance that doesn't even really hit that hard, so I don't feel comfortable with that. I think I'm gonna move Brunhild down to A, just because I think S is too crowded. Honestly, like there's some of these characters just don't deserve it. This Brunhild hits really hard. I'll keep her there for now. I think Echidna's fine here because we just moved her down. The rest of these are all right. I think I'm okay with how this is looking at the moment. Anybody in A tier that I want to move? I don't see too much here. I really think Sigurd has fallen off quite a bit, so we'll move him bottom of A tier. He's still decent enough. I think Blue Tarmiel has fallen off quite a bit. He doesn't really fit too much. I'm going to move him to the bottom of A. I don't think he's worth pushing down to B yet, but he's definitely become a lot less valuable. I think I'm going to move Goddess Liz up to S, just because she's literally like God tier support character. Really annoying, which is what makes her so good. So I think that's only fair. Honestly, Green Estarossa, not what it used to be. I would like to move Bon up further, just because I think he's just really shown his colors on being a really good support. I kind of want to move Rom down, but I don't think I'm going to. I think we move Derriere down. We move Elat down at least, because these are just characters that have just fallen out quite a bit. I'm going to move Matrona down. She's still useful and really decent for the bird, but I don't think she's A tier necessarily. There's a lot better options nowadays. Melascula, the green Melascula deserves to be moved down. I don't think there's any debating that. Her shield is pretty bad, and she lifesteals, and then, she has lifesteal built into her kit. She's just not really that great. Moving Shuna down as well. I'm gonna keep Ragnarok Deanne here just because her relic is so good. Rugal's not good nowadays. I was baffled at the fact that I had Monspeet this high. I think I'm going to move Valenti down as well. I'm going to move down Mono. These characters kind of deserve to be where they're at. I think I'm still okay with the demons being right here. The Demon Cusack and Demon Chandler. They're like not super fantastic, but at the same time, they're still really good. We're going to move... let's move Escanor down to lower A tier, just because I mean he's okay. He can be used in like some stuff if you really want to. I really want to move him down to B though. Green Droll, I'm going to move down to B. I think I'm going to move Blue Droll down to B as well. They're just not really that good anymore. This Liz Hawk is terrible. Not terrible, I say that, but she's okay. Honestly, I'm going to move Nanashi to S tier. His relic has been absolutely game-changing, so I think he deserves that. With the relic recently, I think Red Zeldris is still okay, but I don't think he deserves to be that high. Honestly, even though I really like this king, in no world is Small Wings King even A tier anymore. I don't even know that he... well, I mean, maybe at his release he was like A tier, but he has definitely fallen off even more. I don't think this girl needs to be this high. I mean, she's got like a turn 1 taunt or whatever, even if you go second, which is nice, but kind of mid. This is the only demon to AoE attack, so I'm going to keep him where he's at for now. Actually, let me move him down. If he gets a relic, we'll move him back up eventually. Lost Vein is pretty mediocre. I'm gonna move the blue Lost Vein down 1 because the red Lost Vein can like increase skill ranks when crit. I think that's still really good, but he's really squishy. I'm gonna move him just to bottom of the A tier, even though that doesn't really have a whole lot of relevance. I'm gonna move Derriere down, just not very relevant. Green Easton's not very relevant. Not very relevant on 11 either. Even though I like this Red King as a backliner, doesn't deserve A tier. And I think I'm pretty happy with where this is at right now, maybe. I maybe move Mono. I don't know. I don't think so at the moment. I think that's fine. Let's go to the B tier stuff. So we just moved all of this down. Honestly, I think I'm going to move Rugal down to C tier. Like, he really is, just he's fallen quite a bit. They absolutely destroyed Griamore, so he's going to go F tier. Like, I mean, you could maybe debate D tier with me, but honestly, they killed him so much that he's like, there's really, like, genuinely no point in using that character now, so that kind of sucks. I'm okay with that. Iori's really bad. We're going to move him down to C tier. Death Pierce has also fallen off quite a bit. Hopefully he gets a decent relic. Melascula has gone up in value. I think I'm okay with moving her to low A tier at the moment. I really don't think she's going to last that long where she's at, but I'm okay with that. I don't know if any of these other ones are really that good. Honestly, I really hope Glocks gets a decent relic at some point in the near future. Red Arthur's fallen quite a bit. Blue Arthur doesn't really deserve to be there. Jim Hopper doesn't really deserve to be in B tier. I think C tier is completely fine for him. I'm a bit biased on Liz. I think she's really helpful. I think B tier is okay. You might debate me on that one. I'm completely okay with it. I'm gonna move the king down to C tier as well. I just don't think people really even use him anymore for like Grey Demon or anything, and he's not useful for anything else really. Jericho's really kind of fallen off as well. Where did that go? Okay, it's like right over here. This Halloween Deanne, not in a million years, is even B tier. Let's go for honestly the Demon Meliodas, Green Demon Meliodas, not very good. Honestly, this Bon is bad too. Bon is pretty rough around the edges. She's a decent backliner. He doesn't deserve to be this high. He's really bad. Even with the relic, he is just not very good. I'm okay with the rest of these. Maybe we move her down. She's fallen off quite a bit. This king, I don't think really deserves to be that high anymore. He's like very niche to use. If Rugal's going to go down, I think I'm going to push Demon Meliodas down as well. I think this is like C tier at best. Honestly, Mai is kind of bad too, so I'm going to move her down. I'm not a big fan of this Roxy either. I'm going to move her down also. And then I'm kind of okay with the rest of these. Hawk is kind of debatable. Maybe I move him down, actually. Maybe I move Hellrum down too, because he's kind of mid. I've used red Escanor and green Escanor somewhat recently. I honestly think red Escanor is like terrible nowadays. I don't know what it is, but he's fallen off quite a bit. Anybody here that I want to move around at all? I honestly think red Liz needs to be pushed down a state. Anyone else really? Hauser's kind of debatable. He's pretty bad. He doesn't really need to be that high, I don't think. Zaratros is kind of nice, but I think he's okay where he's at. Maybe I move him up to B tier. I don't think that's right. I don't think I'm going to do that. I kind of want to, but at the same time, he's really only useful in Belmoth. Got a really stupid relic as well, so that's kind of unfortunate. This Christmas Elaine is pretty terrible. And this blue Deanne is very bad nowadays too. She was like an OG unit. Even though she can turn one freeze, not good. Galland is pretty bad as well. Honestly, Levi's really bad. I want to move a lot of these Attack on Titan units lower if I can until we get the rerun and they maybe get buffed, maybe get a decent Holy Relic. I don't think I feel comfortable with them being where they are. Rimaru's pretty bad. Honestly, this red Demon Meliodas is pretty bad. Counter Melee is very interesting and can be okay. I'll leave him there for now. After seeing a recent video with Fraudrin, even with his Holy Relic, he has terrible CC, which is basically the only reason you want to use him, is because of his like passive, where if you out CC, you ultimate move gauge lock. So he's pretty bad. We'll move him to D. She's pretty bad. He's pretty bad. I feel okay with some of these choices now. Slater's just not really useful for anything. Even though Blue Elat has become like a meta unit for Nidhogg, I don't feel comfortable with it. Because honestly, she'll get replaced. It's only just a matter of time for a unit to come out. Honestly, I think Megellda is probably going to help sort of push her out, even though she's not a goddess. I don't know exactly what's going on with that yet. Anything around here deserve to be pushed down to F tier at all? Honestly, this blue Liz, if Fraudrin is as high as he is up here, I'm going to move this blue Liz on the same tier, so B tier. Just because they basically do the same thing. She actually has a cleanse, which is nice. She doesn't automatically fill your ultimate move gauge up, but she's still really good for that. Even as much as you hate to see it, but it is what it is. I'm going to move the blue Bon up to, I don't know if I want to go B tier. I think I go high C tier just because of the whole cheese strat that you can do. Valenti, green Valenti's also here, so I'm gonna move her up to C because you can use her with the cheese strat, which I think is fair. The rest of these characters are pretty bad and or have like no uses really, so I think that is completely okay. I think I'm looking pretty good. I'm okay with that revision. I know that took quite a while. If you, hopefully you can use the chapter system at the bottom of the, or on the scroll bar or whatever it is for YouTube, and you can skip this part if that was too much. Let me know if any of those were maybe too controversial, or I don't know, maybe you just don't think that some of these characters need to be where they're at. Honestly, I'm tempted to move this man down to A tier, but I think I'm okay with him being S tier for now, because honestly he's pretty good. He's the only like decent infect that the demon team has at the moment. But either way, let's get into the new units. We have blue mono. She came out and she already got a relic, and she's very mid at best, so I think she's gonna go right next to the the green mono in A tier, which honestly makes me kind of want to move the green mono down. But honestly, I think the green mono is a little bit better in some scenarios than the blue one. So I think these are kind of interchangeable. I'll just put them together for now in A tier, which might be a stretch. They might deserve B tier, to be honest. This blue Liz is increasingly confusing to me, so she's going to go D tier. Not really a whole lot of like scenarios where you can even use her passive, so very bizarre. Purgatory Meliodas came out. Honestly, I think he deserves like top spot in the game right now. He legitimately has like the the longest passive with the most amount of things that get done from the passive. He's universal. Not only can you put him on the demon team and he do like crazy wacko mode numbers, but he is just genuinely a great character. You can throw him on other teams as well, and he still does fine. Very solid. Ultimate is correct. So yeah, we have up next, some of these got knocked out of order, unfortunately. I think it's more like this, maybe? I don't remember exactly what order they were in. I don't know why that got moved around, actually. Red Valenti, pretty bad. Honestly, I think best case scenario, she's like C tier, just because she has so much lockdown. But really disappointing as a more recent character. I can't be too lenient on that one, I gotta be honest. Freyja is also a very good character. I want to put her up here with Freyja, just because of how good they both are, like in their respective zones. That might be a push. They're more PvE units than anything. Obviously, Freyja can be used on PvP Ragnarok team now, so I'm okay with putting them back to back at the moment. But we'll see how that kind of turns out in the near future, because with her getting a relic that locks her down to Nidhogg, very questionable decision. Not sure how that's going to turn out entirely. Green Small Wings King is very interesting. I'm going to put him in B tier. I have yet to get any decent use out of the character. When I tried him out, he really wasn't all that impressive. I have seen people do okay with him, but I think he's far from meta. I don't really think that he has a real great place in the higher tiers of this list, to be honest. So, honestly, I'm moving Escanor down. Goodbye. B tier. Sorry. Mael is probably the newest character that's like of SS class tier. I'm going to put it like this. I think even without the demon team, Melly does fantastic. Escanor does great on pretty much any team because he doesn't necessarily have a designated team. There's no real human team at the moment. And Mael falls off really hard when he doesn't have his angel support. So the fact that he's like locked purely into the goddess team has really no hope of going outside of that. He does have an insane ultimate. But like I said, he just falls off really hard when it comes to his team. So I'm okay with leaving him down here. That might be debatable. Escanor might be a better third slot instead, which I'm okay with that too. We'll just leave it like this for now, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. New Ludociel is very mediocre, to be honest. I think at best he's like A tier. That might be a little generous, because why would you really use him over Goddess Elizabeth at the moment? Or you know, if you do slot him into the team, you then cannot use Margaret. So he's definitely not as good as Margaret. Maybe I just go ahead and throw him B tier. I really just don't think he deserves to be all that high. There's not a whole lot of use case for him at the moment. It's debatable on whether or not he's going to be like good for Nidhogg, really. But we'll kind of have to see how that team sort of evolves before I'm comfortable moving him up at all on the tier list. And then we have the new Megellda, but she is still not out at the time of me recording this. And I haven't got my hands on her yet, so I'm completely okay with just leaving her unlisted at the moment. I think best case scenario, just so I can put her on the list if you're going to be upset that she wasn't, I think she just goes with the other Demonic Beast characters at the moment. Maybe even the lowest section, because she doesn't have a relic that's usable, which is very unfortunate. Maybe just low A tier, I guess? I don't know. But we'll have to see. Maybe next time we do one of these, I'll maybe correct her or move her around a little bit. But that's pretty much where I'm at. I think that the last tier list that we did, the SS tier, was way too congested. I think a lot of the characters just didn't deserve to be like, oh my god, this is like the most insane character that you need to have. I honestly think that in the meta, it's pretty much these three characters. It's either the demon team, the goddess team, or some sort of weird amalgamation team with Escanor on it doing big damage. Sometimes you have the unknown team doing big damage. Honestly, I think I'm okay with moving Rimuru down to S tier just because he's not as relevant as he used to be, which really makes me want to move Tarmiel down as well. He's like game-breaking character, but On the field, he's not all that great, and you're basically just using him as a link, even though the link is phenomenal. So honestly, I think that might be a little bit more where I want to be. I think it's kind of weird to have like a whole second row of characters on SS tier at this point. Like, it just, we're literally entering in a new like power creep meta for the game. Year 3 has begun. We are using characters now that are literally so much better than anything we've had before. So I'm okay with that right there. I think this is perfectly fine. Obviously, a lot of characters got pushed down, but there's been a lot of power creep, so I think that they deserve to kind of be pushed down. If they get buffs, relics, make them more relevant in the future, they obviously have potential to go back up. But that's where I'm at. Unfortunately, these always end up running really long because I have to mess with a lot of stuff. And I don't know, it took me not really that long to slot characters in. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. I do post these in the Discord that we have in sort of like a tier list section on its own. So that way you can go back and see some of my previous tier lists. Every time I do one, I always save it and then post it in that channel so you can kind of see the progression of things if you want to do that. But that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, put me a little emoji, like a little apple emoji or something in the description. I know these longer videos are always kind of hit or miss on who actually makes it all the way through the whole thing, but yeah, obviously, other than that, just leave me some opinions if you think some of these characters deserve to be up or down. I do take some of that stuff into consideration, of course, but it is ultimately my tier list, but you might be able to sway me a little bit. So that's basically it for me. So goodbye.